I'd love to hear from you. Is there any sort of passing advice or wisdom that you would love to share with mums, breastfeeding or otherwise, new mums on this journey?
No one really talks about it a lot.
Welcome back to Wildly Empowered Women. I'd love to hear from you. Is there any sort of passing advice or wisdom or anything that I haven't asked you yet that you would love to share with mums, breastfeeding or otherwise, new mums on this journey?
No one really prepares us for a breastfeeding journey, and no one really talks about it a lot. I realized very quickly that every single breastfeeding journey that you go through is completely different. Even if it's the same mom and you just have different kids, each kid is completely different, and some journeys are easier than others. With my daughter, Allie, I was, a brand new mom, had never really been around breastfeeding. My mom, I'm the youngest, so I never saw her feed. And so it was a whole new world for me. I had no idea what I was doing, and I just powered through, and it was one of the hardest things I'd ever done. And I remember just being raised like if you're out in public and your baby gets hungry, you do the polite thing, and you remove yourself and you go into a private area to feed. And that's all I had ever known. So that's what I did with Allie. And I just felt so alone and isolated all the time. I think I made it 18 months with her. So for 18 months, I was feeding alone in a dark room by myself. So when I got pregnant with Coda, my son, 5 years later, I made a promise to myself that I would have more confidence that time around. And having that mindset shift really changed everything for me. It made my whole breastfeeding journey more enjoyable. I didn't feel alone. And so I was like, there needs to be a brand out here to just let mothers know that they can. That just because a stranger asks you to go feed somewhere, you don't have to do what that stranger tells you. You can feed wherever you need to, and you can have an enjoyable experience where you just don't feel isolated all the time. So I started the little milk bar. Just know that, and I said this at the beginning, every journey is different, but I feel like it's really hard to see somebody online and post this beautiful breastfeeding photo and think, oh, it's so beautiful and serene and relaxing. And just know that probably 10 minutes before that photo was taken, that mom was probably in tears, struggling with some part of that. And it is not all rainbow and butterflies. It is not all easy. There are some times where you feel touched out for the day. Even still now, 18 months into our journey with Frankie, I still sometimes will get home from work and just be like, I need a minute. I don't want her calling on me. I don't want her on the breast right now. I just need 10 minutes to myself, and just know that that's not being a selfish mom. That's being a normal human being. It is a lot of work. And don't try to compare to what you see on social media. I know that there's so much about having a freezer stash and having hundreds and hundreds of ounces in your freezer. And sometimes that works for you. And sometimes that's what you need because of the lifestyle that you have. But also know, again, this is my third journey. I'm 18 months in with Frankie, and I think I have 2 bags of milk in my freezer. So I see a lot of questions come in that say, do I need to pump? When do I start pumping? When do I need to start building a stash? And it really is dependent on your lifestyle. Are you going back to work? Are you not? Are you staying home with baby? Because you may never need to pump if you don't want to. Pumping is not for everyone. Also know in the complete opposite, some women don't feed from the breast, but they'll pump and keep stashes for them and pump and feed breast milk through a bottle. So really, it's so important for you to understand that your journey is different than what you've seen from your neighbor or your aunt or your big sister. It really is just so important to make your own path and your own rules, because there's no one size fit all.